Welcome back to TenTenths Podcast. I'm host Robert Grout. I'm sitting in the Kanga Motorsports studio, and I have Adam Nielsen on Zoom, and I also have the jet-setting, world-famous Adam Jabaay sitting
I don't know how famous, man. That's a pretty weak fame.
From his YouTube fame and sitting in his brand new Lexus, Adam Jabaay.
I'm not on YouTube, am I? Am I on YouTube?
You will be if you're not already.
I mean, we're starting a build channel with Grid Life eventually. We need to find an editor to put all the video together. I am sitting in my new Lexus. It's not mine. It's my wife's. It's definitely not new, but it is a Lexus. So.
I mean, it's like probably the newest car you've ever owned.
We bought it's a 15, and we bought, what was our newest car? In 2013, we bought an 03. So that was the newest to that. Yeah, this is definitely the newest car I've ever owned. It's only 6, not 10.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty new.
Replaced the studio. I got to sit in here while I record because my bedroom is on the other side of the wall right over there. And so if I'm in the garage, like I can't use impacts after wife goes to bed because she goes to bed early most of the time. And I can't talk. I can't just like walk around and talk on calls and stuff or do podcasts. That's why I always sit in the car when I do Slip Angle podcasts. And now the car is nicer. So
the acoustics are way better.
Yeah, probably a little bit. It's got a little bubble shape to it. Like it's, man, even you see this, even the Oh Jesus handle when you're getting out, it's got like a shock absorber so it goes up slow. It doesn't go whap like a Honda.
Like those fancy cabinets.
Yeah, I don't have those cabinets either. No.
You've probably installed some though, haven't you?
I have. I still regret that I didn't put the slow close in when we redid our kitchen, but I just didn't have the money, man. I was down to the last dollar back then. That was 8 years ago.
Those are kind of like weirdly expensive, aren't they?
I think it added like 50% to the cabinet cost, and I was getting it at family discount because my sister-in-law sells appliances and cabinets.
Yeah.
And it like her cost with just the change to hinges and like drawer closes was like 50% higher. It's crazy. Anyway, enough about the cabinetry.
Robbie's estate probably has those.
I don't have any. Actually, I do. Never mind.
Yeah, he's totally got those. I bet he's got slow closes on everything. Like even his garage door probably slow closes, and everything is nice over there. I'm sure.
That's definitely not true. But
I've seen you got a lift. You got multiple race cars.
That was free, and I'm trying to get rid of the race cars. So, but I do have the slow close and the desk in the office. So I do have a couple drawers.
Was the house built in like the mid 90s? Because that was like high and stuff then.
Like 2001.
Oh yeah, that's before the cheap slow close world.
Yeah, so
that's fair.
So I got the slow close, and it's the oak everywhere.
The golden oak world 20 years ago. It was a strong world.
Yep,
it was everywhere.
Yep, my parents' house is just like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've taken a lot of golden oak out of houses. Put a lot of white stuff in. Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely changed.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna change it.
The TenTenths world. This is the first time I've been on a Zoom call where Adam wasn't in person with you. This is a lot of boxes going on up there.
Yeah.
There's been a huge push to bring him back. Sit across the table.
I was going to, but so I worked last night. And I didn't get home till like 9:30 or 10 o'clock this morning. And I basically slept until like 6 o'clock this afternoon. And I was like, man, I'm not driving back to Grimes.
I wouldn't drive to Grimes.
Back to Des Moines. I'm not doing it. So
no, that's quite a drive.
I didn't.
I'm
going to go see Dalton tomorrow. So I got like a 3.5 hour drive to there to work. So it's like, you know what? I'm not going to drive 2 hours round trip to go see Robbie. They can just deal with Zoom calls again.
Yeah, I would love to record with Robbie in person, but Robbie doesn't come to events that I'm at anymore.
That's not true. I go to all the events. I go to like 4 events.
All the fun at Coda, bro.
I only go to the events I drive in.
It was the wildest weekend, dude. I saw freaking Dalton's little meaty clackers and dinger, and like everything. It was nuts. It was nuts, dude.
Did we talk about that on the show?
Oh yeah,
Matt,
We did.
He got so naked so fast. I think the only person that got naked faster getting in that pool was me. But I didn't have
there
like
wasn't
half
20 people there.
Yeah, I only had like one best buddy out like in the entire area. And I was like, I'm going swimming right now. And I told him to look away. And Dalton was like basically announcing that it was time to look at Dalton Wiener.
I mean,
it was so fun, man.
You got to respect that type of confidence.
Oh man, it was great. I really enjoyed hanging out with you dudes. I wish we could have been there like for another day. Before we were recording, we were talking about the crappy mansion and the ballroom, like the worst acoustics ever. But they actually did sound okay. Like the
It
mics
wasn't
worked
that
okay.
bad.
No, those mics actually work pretty good for that. But there's something like super fun about being in a place so junky after being in like the prettiest racetrack in the country. Like it was a really good time. So I'm glad you guys came back that night.
I have listened to the Patreon episode twice now.
Yeah.
Twice, I think.
I haven't heard it. I was there, but I didn't hear it.
It's the silliest thing ever. I can't stop giggling when I listen to it. I just love it so much.
Dude, I kid you not, Patreon, we're still getting new listeners every single day. Like it is crazy. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, we Abe and I talked today, and we decided that anybody that like keeps a Patreon with us for a while, like over a certain amount, we're just going to start sending them t-shirts because we really appreciate it. We were able to fly Abe out, and we almost flew him to California for Thursday's event, the skip day. The flights were just like insane, like $1,000. But yeah, because he was going to buy like the next day, the day before. I mean,
so he didn't make it?
No, it wasn't at skip day, but it was a really busy single day. We were operating 3 surfaces at the same time. And one was the craziest drift track I've ever seen. Horse Thief Mile was out of control. Did you see any of the video of the new Forsberg car too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, that
silly.
track, the car is insane, but the track, like in a rental minivan, I was scared. And we're going like 12. It was so crazy. It goes up and like back down and around this, like it's crazy, like mountain road. It feels like you're on a mountain road. And if you go off, you hit like everything, and they're all rocks. But it was really cool to see a build like that that's basically been built for grid life events. And it was also very humbling to see that happen. So kind of weird.
What's in it?
It's a
new Maxima.
And that's Altima.
Altima.
And so basically they plasma cut the bottom of the car off, right? So it's a shell like with doors, and that's it. And then Chair Slayer, Rob Parsons, like scanned the available space inside this thing, like with his 3D scanner. He's got it. His company I'm not going to say it wrong, but basically he makes pre-cut, pre-bent roll cages that are basically perfect. Like you put them together and like the fitment's perfect. Everything's perfect.
I've seen a handful of people that have used his services. There's even a local friend here has 240 scans so that he can make cages.
Right. Rob's stuff is like so good. Like the fitment is basically perfect, I guess. So he did that for this thing and then drew this entire car up in CAD. And it uses Corvette suspension pickup points. So it's got like a fully adjustable Corvette suspension. So it's like off the shelf suspension, known quantity as far as like in drift world is known to be good, right? So there's a lot of like off the shelf stuff, but it's got a what's the GTR motor? The VR38?
6.
So
I think it's a VR30, or maybe it is a 3.8.
I think it's a 3.8. I don't know, but it's a GTR motor. I think it's got billet crank, crazy rods, pistons, T1 race development or whatever built it, and they were dynoing it the night before, and Forsberg was like, "Yeah, we dynoed for like 32 minutes, and we're on the way." Like, in 20 or 30 minutes, they made 1,050 wheel horse. And they're like, "Oh, it'll do 2,000. It's not going to be a problem. Like, it's going to do 2,000 horsepower." So it's got a sequential rear-wheel drive, obviously, 1,000 wheel, as of like Thursday, and it's a gritty track, but one single lap of Horse Thief Mile, and the tires were gone, throwing sparks after one lap, like blowing tires after one single lap. The thing's got so much freaking wheel speed, and it comes on so fast because it sounds like if you listen to the video, it sounds like an old school rally car because it's got the wildest anti-lag. And as soon as he like lets the clutch back out, like it's instant tire smoke, like so much because it's not spooling tires up, and like he's running a high gear because he's got instant power. And it's just the craziest thing, dude. It's so wild, and it looks rad. Right now, the body kit is all 3D printed, and so like if you touch it, it cracks because they're gonna fiberglass over it and underneath it, I guess. But if you touch it, it breaks. So the body kit broke a few times. Because they like thrashed to get it done to make videos, obviously last Thursday. So it was super cool to have them out there with that. And they brought the Z prototype, the new Z400 or whatever the heck that is.
I think they're just calling it the Z.
Yeah, Z Proto. Got to follow Proto. So it was a wild week. I keep saying weekend, but it was a wild day. Like it was a crazy day.
So how'd that even come together? Like your skip day?
We wanted to do a weekend out there, but there was nothing available because, like, people book weekends there because it's cheap. Willow Springs is pretty cheap. It's like the oldest road course in the country, the oldest dedicated road course in the country. It was built in 53, and it still looks like it was built in 53. Like, if you watch the Ford versus Ferrari, like the scenes at Willow Springs, like it was really filmed there, and that was like the last time I got a coat of paint a few years ago, and so it looks identical to that. I hadn't seen that, and on the plane ride home, I saw that it was available in the in-flight entertainment, so I started watching it. I was like, holy shit, yesterday I was standing on that barrel right there. Like, it was so cool. But we ran an event there a couple of years ago in 2019. We were on Streets of Willow, which is another course that they have, like off to that would be off to the east, I think. And that's kind of a cool track too, but it's small and the pavement's getting really bad on it. We didn't want to do streets. We wanted to do Big Willow because Big Willow is supposed to be like fast and fun. And it's a little smoother, and it's all built on mountains, so it's not like that rutted, but the pavement's just really old. But we found out how cheap it was on a weekday, and we were like, we could just do this and just invite people. And like the partners want to help do that. There's a lot of like Grid Life partners on the West Coast. So we just used it as like a content creation day. We invited a bunch of we did an application only for HPDE and invited, non-beginners basically. And those are like the track rat crowd that we want to be advocates for Grid Life when we eventually go west. Hopefully next year we'll be doing a couple of rounds, like real track battle rounds out there. So we wanted to rebuild some of the community that we probably lost during COVID year and not being able to go to SEMA and see a lot of these companies and people in face-to-face at some point. So we threw a cheap track day and rented a couple of racetracks. And just like, it was just really fun. And like all of automotive YouTube came, which was weird. I think the subscriber reach Sean tried to total it up at one point of like the people, and it was like 30 million or something crazy. So like automotive YouTube showed up and made a bunch of videos. Probably didn't credit Grid Life in half of them, but we appreciate him coming anyway. But it was a really cool day. It was cool to meet some people and see a lot of people that we hadn't seen in a few years. Like I haven't seen some of the dudes from Hoonigan because we didn't see them last year at all because of COVID stuff. And they came out, Hurt and Chair Slayer and Vin and Nads came. So I got to hang out with Nads twice in a month. That was cool. So got to argue about time attack rules twice in a month with Nads. So,
that's a podcast.
I want to have him on, but I want to do it in person, and I want to do it with Nads drinking cheap beers. So,
that's fine. But I want to hear you guys argue about everybody's favorite term, the spirit of time.
Yeah, that's. I think the Pro Awesome guys love that term, don't they?
It's their favorite term.
At Rally Ready Ranch. Did you talk about? You talked about that a little bit on the show.
Yeah, I did.
At Rally Ready Ranch, Nads started arguing with me, and then he basically said, I really don't know anything about time attack. And then he said that the Grid Life rules were great. So the argument might not actually be all that good. So I don't know if the grid life rules are great, but we're trying really hard. I think we're trying harder than anybody. So, the Rally Ready Ranch was super fun, but I didn't have time to record anything like with him. I would love to do it in person. That would be great. So, but yeah, Willow Springs. I drove Willow Springs in a listener's Civic. My buddy Jaime Garcia he just came out to do advanced, and he brought me a helmet. He brought me the best bottle of tequila to share with the guys afterwards, like because his dad's from that region of Mexico, and he's like, "This is the best bottle of tequila," and it doesn't even taste like tequila. It was so good. But he brought an extra helmet, and he brought a car that I could fit in. That's a fully track prep, like 8th gen Civic, like K20 and roll bar. It had MCS single adjustables. Had Maxxis slicks on it and Stop Tech kit in the front. So it's like good track rat. It's like really basically a GLTC car in pace. And I could not believe how fast Big Willow was. Like it is, Tom O'Gorman drove the same car right after me. And later that night, Tom and I were talking at the Airbnb, and he's like, I was like, what do you think of Willow? Because he had driven it before, like in a Hellcat day, a media day or something. But it had been a couple years, and he was like, I forgot how scary it was. It's the most intimidating track in the country by far. Yeah. And I agree with him. It's freaking nutty, dude. So it's fast. Like it's got a couple big straightaways, but it has 2 right-handers that I kid you not are from turn in to like straightening the wheel back out. They're each probably 3/8 of a mile. Like they are so big, the normal turn in a road course is what, 500 feet, 400 feet.
Yeah, probably.
Like these are 1,600 feet turns, and they're slightly banked. And so one of them, turn 1 is banked pretty heavily banked, probably 12, 13 degree bank. And then turn 2 is like a 4th gear in a GLTC car, roughly would be a 4th gear pinned to the wood. And you stay in it, and it goes and it goes and it goes and it goes, and then you almost could upshift into 5th, and then you're climbing at that point, and it's got this really cool uphill section around turn 4, kind of like an uphill S's, and then it drops down, and it drops down really fast, kind of a downhill S, and then you're in kind of a big long sweeping straightaway, and then. When I walked it with Kyle, SimTV Kyle, I walked it the night before on Wednesday night, and I thought, geez, this looks like a really fast turn. This would be turn 8, which is over by Streets of Willow. And
that's a long turn too.
Turn 8 is crazy. So in this roughly what would be a GLTC car if it had a full cage, I shift to 5th, and Jaime, who's a NASA instructor, unless he goes by Jamie. I've never called him by his first name. So, but Jaime, I'm guessing it's Jaime because I thought I heard somebody say that. But this is a dude that I've texted with for years, but we met for the first time on Thursday. And he just started a podcast also. I think it's called Race FF Podcast, kind of talking about the California front wheel drive track scene. So, and he just had Ryan Eversley on. I was like, how'd you get Ryan Eversley, dude? You've done 4 shows.
Just right off the bat.
He's like, oh, no, I've been texting him on Instagram. Okay, cool. So turn 5 or the straightaway, into turn 8, he's right seat, and I'm on my second lap, and he's like, stay in it. And I'm like, dude, I just shifted to 5th. I'm fucking deep in 5th. I'm no joke. We're halfway through 5th gear. I'm going 120. And he's like, stay in it, pinned. And I was like, you sure, dude? For real? And he's like, yeah, it's no problem. And turns out it's literally no problem. This turn is so fast. You enter in a GLTC car, probably $120. And then it just accelerates from there. It's so crazy. And then turn 9 is basically the second half of it. And the problem with turn 9 is on the track out portion of turn 9, there's a giant pothole, and you can't drive over it. So you got to miss. You have to miss a chunk of broken racetrack at the backside of turn 9. But it's so freaking fast. It's out of control, and I can see how people have died in turn 9 because if you do it wrong, it kind of launches you into the desert, and you would roll for 500 feet. Like it's so gnarly, dude. But I can't wait. Like I think it's the most fun session, like first session at a track that I've ever had, because it's that scary. So yeah, Willow Springs totally lays it down. Like that place, sick. I loved it.
I want to see some like real high downforce time attack cars doing laps there.
I'm actually afraid to see like a real unlimited class car go there.
Yeah.
Because if it goes wrong, like that's where you're like, you might only have a steering wheel left. Like it's that crazy. We're talking like they would obviously have to slow down into turn 8.
Right.
But they would be approaching turn 8 at 170 miles an hour.
Jeez.
I rode with Kevin Burke in the Torco Viper, which was what's the last gen Viper? It's the one before then. It's an ACR from like, I don't know, 2008, something like that. And so it was basically a stock ACR from back then, the non-aero ACR days. But it had Toyo RRs on it, and he was just doing laps, having fun. So they're like his cooked out session or tires. And it's not his car; it's Torco's car. So he's like, and he's got a passenger in it. He's like, yeah, I would do about 80%. And we were approaching turn 8 at 158 miles an hour in a stock Viper. So like in a Will All Young mobile, that's got to be you're out of gear. You're going 180 there, you know.
Yeah.
It was so freaking gnarly. The place is, the fact that like people drove bias ply 6.5 inch wide tire race cars there in like 1962 with 400 horse, like so freaking crazy. So really, really fun day though. Like I'm really glad that he made me drive his car, because man, like that place, like it gives me like the jitters thinking about how cool it was. And that's like have you guys ever had like the best autocross run or the best track? You get off track and it's like the best run that like where you get the shakes and you're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had those in a while, and I had them again the first time in like 3 years. Basically, I haven't had them because I've been driving like a bitch.
It happens.
And I had yeah, like I put my radios down and like take off all my bullshit, and then I try to get in a race car and like do race car things, and it's impossible, right?
No. So you can't shut it off when you're running the event.
I've said it before, but I almost crashed at Autobahn. I went 3 wheels off at Autobahn because I was like, did anybody call time attack to grid? Like as I'm like in the warm up lap of lap 1 of a GLTC race, like I almost binned it because I was thinking about like, did anybody call time attack to grid? It's stupid. So that's a big thing I'm going to work on. But when I did the second run at the Rallycross, Larry Chen jumped in the passenger seat because he had just gotten there. And I was like, I'm going to get after it because Larry's I think it's in his Instagram stories, because Larry's videoing it. I'm like, this might be cool. And then we set FTD because I got freaking after it. And I got out of the car and I was like full body shakes, like, because it was so fun. And I had that again driving just 6 laps at Willow Springs. The place gives you the shakes. It's so wild. It was just so freaking wild. So I want to go back to Willow Springs in a big way because that place is so cool. Anyway, sorry for rambling.
No, is it on the table to do a full grid life there?
Oh yeah. I would love to rent Streets of Willow, Horse Thief, and Big Willow for a weekend.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
Because like you got all that track, like people could be. I mean, I'd need more of myself. I need like a good team at every track, but you have all those facilities to do all that cool stuff. I think it could be like, kind of best weekend ever. There's not a lot of stuff around it. Like there's some hotels within about 20-30 minutes. There's some like there's a AM PM and like a freaking Shell station down the street, but it's like 5-10 minutes away. It's not like a huge city within 20-30 minutes of it. Lancaster is the next biggest city, and that's probably 25 minutes away, but the track could camp a lot of people. I mean, you could literally camp 10,000 people there if you had the porta potties. So
I'm looking at like a map of the whole facility. Like they've got that skid pad, and it looks like there's an oval. Is that paved oval, or is that
they've got a paved oval off kind of behind.
There's a ton of space there, isn't there?
We used Balcony, the skid pad, and we used Horse Thief, and we used Big Willow on Thursday. And Streets of Willow is like a fun little HPD track, and it also has like an exact replica of what's that like heavy banked turn in the Nürburgring?
Carousel.
The carousel.
Is that what they call it? The carousel, like the really crazy bank turn. It's got a replica of that on the backside, which is pretty rad. I drove it in a rental car a couple years ago, and it was pretty cool. It's got really good elevation change. I was shocked at the elevation change of Big Willow too. Probably, like if I had to guess, it's 100 feet of elevation. Like it's huge. It goes up the mountain, 75 feet maybe. It's big. It's real tall. And you can see like the whole track pretty much from the pits, which is rad. You can pretty much see everything. Yeah, man, I think we could really throw a cool event there. We might not be able to like tell anybody about it because there ain't much self-service, and the internet probably hasn't found that place yet. But like, man,
for some reason, I had it in my head that Horse Thief Mile was like a straight or like a not a course, but more like a hill climb.
Oh yeah, like a point to point.
Yeah.
I guess it was designed as like a track that's supposed to be like a hill climb. But then they just kind of turned it into a drift track because if you're going after it real hard, like it's freaking crazy dangerous. You could launch off of one turn and like land on top of another car in the turn behind it. Like,
yeah.
I would think like it would be a cool track for maybe like bracket battles where you only have a couple cars at one time. And there's some, there's some bleachers around it. You can get some people up there watching, but I think it could be a really cool facility. The whole facility could be really cool to do a cross between like a Blackhawk Farms track day picnic and like a big busy Gingerman event, but then also have drift going like the entire time. You could have 100 drift cars there just burning tires on two courses, and you could have HPDE on both courses. You could have time attack on both courses, Streets and on Big Willow. Like it's got a lot of potential to be rad. So
it looks like since Streets has a few different configurations, you guys could maybe do your team drifting competition there.
Yeah, there's also like a big skid pad right in front of the building in Streets. So like there's not like a defined line in that last turn. Yeah. It's kind of I think it's really built more for just like magazine stuff too, probably. But it's a really fun little track. Like it's a cool track. We did bracket battles there in 2019. And that was it was actually a really fun track for that. It was fun to watch because you could see 2/3 of it from the paddocks there also. But yeah, cool facility, and like stuck in 1968. Like the place is just rad. It's got good vibes, and like the staff are super friendly, and like they just give you the keys and they don't bother you at all. You just do whatever you want. It's the freaking coolest, dude. Like, I love tracks like that. They're like, hey, you've done this before. Go do it. We're not going to tell you what to do. You do your thing. How many corner workers you want? I don't know. I mean, you have as many as you want or none. I don't care. Like, did your check clear? Do your thing, man. It's really weird. Cool place. Like, and I stood on the side of the track, like while my corner worker lead race control had to go to the bathroom. Like, well, she's at the bathroom. Like I'm waving the green checker. I'm like standing right next to the track. Guy's going by me 100 miles an hour because that's how they do it there. And she's like, it's fine. Nobody's ever been killed here. They're all on the other side of the racetrack. Ain't no big deal. They're 20 feet away. It's just different out there, man. Willow is different. It's just how they do it. It's weird. I got a picture of me standing next to the racetrack holding the green flag. It's just weird. It's a cool place, man.
We know how much the internet loves pictures of you holding flags.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, I'm not going to make any stickers out of it. I'm not going to let Chris make any. I was never consulted for that sticker either. Like all of a sudden, he's like, "Hey, look what I made." I'm like, I guess we got to pay the rent. Fine.
One of these days, I'm gonna have to go to Dalton's house and put that sticker on the back of his trailer.
Yeah, Dalton bought the 4x8 or whatever.
The huge one.
The fans of the podcast bought that. They paid for it. Or he got money in his PayPal to pay for half of it.
That's so freaking cool.
On the show.
I swear, like the people that listen to like our podcasts are the coolest people because they just like to see us do dumb, embarrassing shit.
Yeah, that's absolute best.
I love it.
Yeah, the new concept that Abe and I have come up with for Patreon is like people like to hear silly, dumb shit. So I think we're gonna try to do monthly drinking drunk dial shows where we just drunk dial our friends.
That sounds perfect.
Doesn't that sound like fun?
Please,
and I wouldn't
please call me.
And
I'll give you Dalton's number if you want to call him.
Hell yeah, man! And I wouldn't put that out as like a slip angle, but like
the Patreon.
Yeah, that's a perfect Patreon. it's and when Abe gets drunk, he gets sleepy but silly. Like he might be fun. It could be good. So. And I got that. I got the Arnold Schwarzenegger soundboard on my phone. Like it could be really fun. So, yeah, we're looking for any other ideas for fun Patreon shows.
No, I think you got to figure it out. That's the way to do it.
Like those could be really fun interviews, especially if the guest is also drinking. Could be fun. So, I know Robbie's not a big fan of drinking.
Yeah, I don't drink,
and I don't. Like I don't drink like I used to, but I really, really, really enjoy doing it. And those could be fun podcasts. So, yeah,
those will be out of control, and that's what people want.
Or just just chill and like all of a sudden you're talking about like Dalton, you're talking about things that you don't expect to talk about. So yeah, I'm stunned by the Patreon response though. I really appreciate the people supporting the show, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of budget to do some cool stuff too. So maybe we'll fly Robbie out to do things too.
That would be
Robbie,
awesome.
You want to be an engineer? You could fly out to California and record our shows and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, let's do it. Sounds great.
Yeah, I'll quit tomorrow. I'm in.
Yeah. Adam will drive there in a Buick with a bunch of people from South Dakota, but we'll fly around.
I'm not going to promise that I'm going to be at too many of your West Coast stuff. That's starting to get too far to drive, and I don't like flying. So
if we go to Willow Springs and do all the events, all the tracks, I think I have to drive my rig out there just one time. Like I got to do it.
I will co-pilot that trip if you want. I would be more than happy to.
The problem is it's so far, dude. It's like going
so
to PPR.
Far, but dude, it would be the dopest trip.
Dude, it's going to PPR twice.
I know, but it'd be so much fun.
Oh, I know, and now the generator works all the time, so the AC's cranking, baby. And it's.
I've never been west of the mountains. I think PPIR is probably the farthest I've ever been west.
I drove when my brother got out of high school. I drove with him. We took my car to a CRX Niagara meet at Niagara Falls, and then we went to the East Coast. We were walking on the beach in New Jersey on a Sunday night, and then 3 or 4 days later, we were walking on the beach in Long Beach. And we took his car out west, and like. There's a lot of country in between. Yeah, like in between even Iowa and Long Beach. That's like days. Yeah, days to get there. Like people live there too, man. There's one.
You basically did the cannonball run.
Yes, well, I mean we didn't do it like crazy fast, but there's one road coming out of Phoenix towards LA where it is straight. I want to say it's like 56 miles. Like it just goes and goes. And it's dead straight.
Yeah, that's the one they always top their cars out when they do the cannonball runs.
Yeah, it's so it's so straight.
It's like Highway 71 or something.
Yeah, it gets baked by the sun all day long, and so it's like the asphalt is always getting smoother, and it's just straight as can be. It's so freaking crazy. There's a lot of weird places in between here and there. You gotta make a drive, Adam. You're missing out, man.
Well,
if you take that Blazer across the world, man. I know you don't have the Blazer anymore.
Oh, there's no way. No, I do. That's Katie's. That's Katie's daily.
Oh yeah,
She takes the kid to school every day.
Yeah. What happened to the minivan, by the way?
So the first year that we were at PPIR, Katie was driving the van from visiting a friend in Des Moines back to our house, and so I guess minivans with rear heat have 2 heater cores. Because that's a thing they need, I guess. I don't know. And there were some hard lines that went from the front to the back, and one of them rusted through. And she dumped all the coolant on the ground, and she blew a head gasket in it. And so it sat in my driveway for a little while I was trying to decide what to do with it. But it was a real hot hunk of garbage to begin with. And so there's this place. There's this place here in or nearby us that always advertises on the radio that they'll come and pick up junk cars, and then you get like a tax rebate for it. Yeah, it's like Teen Challenge of the Midlands or something like that. I don't know. It's an addiction clinic of some sort. And they came and took my car, and they're supposed to give me paperwork. And I never received the paperwork, and I just decided, fuck it. I don't even care.
They took it, though.
They took it. It's gone. It didn't cost me a dime. So I feel like it was worth less than the tow would have costed me to get it to the junkyard. Yeah. And so, I was like, whatever. It's gone for free now.
Now that you say that, I remember you talking about the heater core line. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah. I saw that. So, didn't I see that? I saw that van at Audubon once, didn't I? You had that. You drove that to Audubon.
Yes, I drove that hot chunk of. Yes, I drove that hot hunk of garbage to Audubon.
Hey man, that's a long drive.
So hot.
Yeah, it was hot
at Audubon that year. It was gross, and I slept in that van.
I think overnight that year, that was the hottest year. I think overnight, like the low was like 91 overnight. It was so stupid.
Oh, so bad.
And like the high was like 98 and the heat index was like 110 or something stupid. It was so hot. That was when we were doing North Course, South Course, North Course, Full Course, South Course too. So we're trying to get these drivers to like drive well on 3 tracks in 2 days. And like, it's a recipe for tows, just problems. Everybody putting it 2 wheels off in the mud. It was a big weekend. But,
that was the year that you had all those Rockstar water in a can.
Oh yeah, those were fun.
You remember that?
That? we carted pallets of those things around all year.
I remember somebody that was there, kind of just like checking things out, and he asked you about them because he was like, "Are you trying to kill these kids?" Like,
oh yeah.
Like, what's going on, man?
Everybody's
15 degrees.
Everybody's walking around with what looks like a rock star.
Yeah.
Are you trying to kill everybody?
Like, dude, they should be drinking water. Like, yeah, that's what that is, though. It's fine. Like, okay.
I remember that happening. Who was that? Who asked that?
I have no idea who it was. I don't remember anymore. But it was somebody.
And they were like gravely concerned. Like, you have no idea what you're doing. You are actually going to give someone a heart attack.
I want to say it was like a doctor buddy of yours or something like that.
I don't know.
Well, it's funny.
Yeah, I remember somebody saying that.
Well, the can looks identical to the energy drink because, like, I'm trying to pull up the picture, and the only thing different is that it says
spot on.
It says purified drinking water on the top
in like tiny little letters.
Everything else is identical.
It's got a nutritional facts list on it, and it's all zeros down the board like water normally is. But those are the only differences between the two cans.
Me and British Richard had to make a trip to. Because they all, like, pallets and pallets and pallets of them came to Gingerman for a festival, because that was when festivals in June, because the world wasn't on fire. Yep. And so we had to make a special trip, and we hand loaded the back of my F-250, and then because there was 2 pallets of water there, and they were all in cases, and it had rained so much at that, like the last day of the festival, so the cardboard's all like falling apart, and then we literally hand loaded like 2 more pallets onto a flatbed trailer. And then we're like, how do you strap down monster cans onto a flatbed and it's dark? I forget what we did, but we didn't lose any cans. I think we might have tarped them. I don't remember. And then we drove to my buddy's house right by Audubon and had to unload all the cans of Monster again. It was stupid. It was pretty dumb. Life was hard back then. 2 years ago feels like 1,000 years ago. That was
Isn't
like
it crazy?
Yeah.
Oh, it was probably it was 3 seasons ago, I think.
Yeah.
And that was 2018 probably. That feels like 1,000 years ago. Like lifetime.
Yeah.
Full lifetime ago.
Yep.
Yeah. Very, very weird. I was talking to Chris. We were planning like right before this call. We're planning like, okay, what do we do to not hate our lives? And like, what do we do with grid life long term? And like, what's the scalability of West Coast and all this stuff? And then it was like we had a moment of reflection where it's like, how did any of this happen? Like this is not what I thought I'd be doing with my life. And then I saw like my name in Racer, like on Racer magazine like yesterday on their website.
Yeah.
It's like, how did any of this happen? Like, I'm just a freaking carpenter.
You're a big deal, man.
I'm just a freaking stupid idiot.
You're Adam fucking Jabaay.
You're big time, man.
I mean, I don't think I'm big time, but I'm giving free labor to everybody that asks. So if you want to be big time, that's how you do it. You give your entire life away for free.
I'm pretty sure one of the measurements of being a big time guy is flying privately. And
I did fly privately once.
So I mean that's
true.
And then shortly thereafter you bought a Lexus. I mean it's clearly changed you. You also refused to fly coach the next time you flew.
That's true. I eased my way back into the life of the plebeian Adam Jabaay. Well, the upgrade to first class is only $100, dude. So I swiped that card, man.
Oh no, I've never done it.
Yeah, it was great. I would have done it again on the way home, but it was not available, unfortunately. So, did you guys talk about my dumb flying private thing?
No, it was your story to tell, not ours. So it's your turn.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm 2 shows behind. I'm perpetually 2 shows behind on you guys' show.
So are we.
I can't keep up with all the podcasts I listen to, and whenever I get like super frustrated with my life, I have to listen to like EDM music to like actually be productive. So I'll like do 3 days of EDM where I'm like thrashing in between phone calls on a job site, and then I'll listen to podcasts for 2 days. So yeah, it's hard to listen to all my podcasts, but.
No, that's cool. The other day, Booney we were working on the cage, and Booney's like, "Hey, did you listen to this podcast?" And I just responded, "Dude, I don't listen to podcasts." And he just stopped.
I love podcasts.
He couldn't understand. Like, what do you mean you don't listen to podcasts? I was like, "Nah, man, it's rare. There's like 3. I listened to 3, and I'm way behind on all of them."
Yeah,
but you do it. I don't know.
That's the beauty of podcasts. They'll be there whenever you get some time.
Yeah. I usually binge Slip Angle like 7 episodes at a time, and then I go once, and then I go 7 episodes, and then
that's too much Slip Angle at one time, man.
Nah, it's like one quick hit. And then
we had a dude from New Zealand message us one time, and he was like, "I've been listening to Slip Angle for 6 weeks, 8 hours a day," and I was like, "That's got to be like actually mentally." That's got to hurt you mentally. That's not good. You can't listen to my stupid voice 8 hours a day.
Oh,
yeah, he's like, yeah, I do landscaping, and I've been listening to 8 hours a day for 6 weeks, and I'm almost caught up. I was like, that is dumb, dude. You're crazy. I'm sure people
every once in a while too.
Yep.
Yeah, like people do that with like our shows. Like, how many people do that with Joe Rogan? Like,
I don't think you can.
That's insane.
It's a wide variety of topics, but yeah. Or like, any mainstream podcast, like it's got to be thousands of people that just listen to one person for 6 weeks at a time.
That's how I got caught up to Dinner with Racers, because I didn't even know they existed until after their 2nd season came out. And so I just binged that for like a month.
Dude, the level 5 special, still the greatest thing I ever recorded in.
Yes.
I
actually have listened to that.
It's been a while.
It's so good, dude. It's the best automotive podcast hour of all time. I got to get Jeff on the show again. He's the coolest dude. we were talking about flying private and how fancy I was.
Yes. Fancy you are.
I'm actually 100% not fancy. Like right now, I'm still in smelly work pants from installing a door at an airport all day.
Sitting in a Lexus. I'm sitting in a used office chair. Adam, what are you sitting in? A rocking chair?
A rocking chair in my 5-year-old's bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah? Man, your 5-year-old stays up late, dude.
He's asleep in my bed right now.
Oh,
this, I'll have to move him.
You have to shuffle the babe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like 6 months ago, whenever we announced the Coda SLB date, Aaron from the Winning Formula, he calls me up. He's like, "Hey, you're going to Coda? Are you taking your car? Like, what are your plans for travel?" And I was like, "Dude, that's 6 months from now. I don't have any plans for travel." Because typically we buy our flights for Good Life stuff like 3 weeks out when it's like usually the cheapest, and then it starts getting expensive after that, right?
Yep.
And like when we know that the event's probably actually happening and things like that. And last year I drove, and that was a whole deal. So air brake problems, and like it took us 48 hours to get there or whatever. I think it actually did take. We left on Wednesday night and we got there on Friday night, so it took us like a solid 48 hours to get there. That was a long drive, but we slept twice on the way there. But Aaron's like, "How are you getting there?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he's like, "All right, I got you. We're flying in a private jet." And I was like, "No, we're not. That's not a thing. I know what that costs per hour. That's like $8,000 an hour." And he's like, "None of us are paying for it. It's gonna be great. Don't trust me." And I was like, "Well, okay, whose private jet is this?" And he was like, "Don't worry about it. No big deal." And so, and I just kind of like thought, okay, well, this will be a fun story whenever this happens. And so a few months ago, I was like, "So really, whose jet is this? And like, what's the deal?" And he was like, "So Jared, who works in the office there at Winning Formula. Winning Formula is like a race prep shop, basically. And they do full builds, they do maintenance, they do whatever. A lot of alignments and stuff. They got some really good techs there. And they know how to set up a car for a racetrack. Obviously, they win things themselves too. Aaron and Emil are beasts, and Jared's done quite well in time attack. And Kevin, who is another guy there, he's done well in time attack with us. And yeah, just all around good dudes. Ethan's an up and coming tech with them. He's the nicest guy ever, best help ever in paddock. So I was like, "What's the deal?" Like, he's like, "Well, Jared's like really into whiskey, like high end whiskey. He's got a crazy whiskey collection." And he met this dude, Evan, who's really into whiskey, and Evan's got a crazy whiskey collection too. And Evan is Papa John's son-in-law. Papa John's got jets. So we flew in Papa John's ex-wife's private jet to Coda, which is weird. So that was cool. The best part about it, I actually had to rent a car to get there to Louisville, because we flew out of Louisville, because I literally at the moment didn't have a highway worthy vehicle besides my RV. Like, because my Civic was on my buddy's trailer going down there. My Civic didn't have a good weekend down there, but I did make some laps and I did the F1 start and stuff. But I'll talk about that in a minute if you want. But,
yes, please.
That's like semi-highway worthy, but it's really just a straight up 17-point cage race car. And that was there. And my wife has her car, obviously. My work truck at the time, it's mine, but like it didn't have a fifth gear. So I've been driving for like 6 months, 1 through 4. It's a manual trans, and this trans is NV 4500 manual trans out of it came in old semi trucks, and it came in Dodge Rams like 98 to 2000 or something. But the fifth gear is outside the case, and it if you once it starts to get some slop in the gears, it'll break the snap ring that holds it on to the shaft, and then you just can't use fifth gear. It won't hurt the gear or anything, but you just don't have it anymore. so you gotta take the tail shaft off of it and fixed it. So I got the upgraded fifth gear just a few weeks ago. I actually had to I carefully use a little grinder to grind the the thing bigger so that the whole slot bigger so I can use the upgraded 5th gear snap ring. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. But now that's highway worthy again, but not 55 miles an hour max. So I rented a car to go down there because I'm such a broke ass. My only highway vehicle is my RV, and it would have costed me the same in fuel as it would to rent a car from Enterprise. And we pull, like, the coolest thing is I pull up to the shop. We throw, since it's a rental car, we just, a bunch of people piled in, and we pull up to the airport, and like a dude opens a gate, and you drive up to the plane, and you get out, and like a dude takes your car and puts it in the hangar, and you don't have to do anything with security, and you are in the air 4 minutes later. It's the freaking coolest. It's just literally amazing. It was so wild. It was so cool. And then those dudes are big whiskey aficionados, and they had insane whiskey on the flight too, like 15-year-old high-end stuff and like Japanese imports and all kinds of crazy stuff. So it was a really fun trip. Somebody's dinging me in my ear. You can't hear that, can you?
No.
All right, good. Yeah, it was a really fun trip getting out there. We got out there a day early. And so we went and got dinner in Austin on Thursday night. That was cool. Got to the track, and yeah, it was a fun event. SLB has been great to work with. SCCA, who sanctions SLB, is easy to work with on that part. Basically, we just like bought our hour and 10 minutes of track time per day and provide a certificate of insurance, and like they do it. So that's all we have to do. Renee goes into race control. She manages the racetrack, and we had our buddy Pete out there working grid. He's local from Houston. He's actually coming up to run Sunday Cup with us and drive all season and work remotely and work grid and stuff. So like we're building a really good like family of drivers and crew out there in Texas. I think after 2 years, we're looking forward to next year. I think next year is going to, if there's a good date next year, that event's going to pop. I think the third year of GLTC there, I think we'll see over 30 cars, and that track actually is way more fun than I thought it would be. Like, I didn't think that track was cool on paper or like in video. Like, it looks big and boring. Mm-hmm. But man, that place is kind of freaking rad. Like, it does not suck. It's really pretty cool. So I'm going back if SLB wants us back. They're working on a date right now. I'm taking my car regardless because I had enough fun driving it. Just a few laps that I did with heavy oil starvation and left-hand turns. I had enough fun driving it that there is no way I'm not doing it next year because that place is cool. Like, it's big and fast and wild. But I'll change my trans just so I have a better gear ratio. I ran out of gear there. That was the first time I've ever like physically ran out of RPM on a road course. It was a cool place, man. I was really
kind of a theme there. There's people running.
Yeah,
everybody does.
Just don't have enough gear.
Ferris has the same problem.
Did he run out of gear this year? I didn't talk to him about that.
Yes,
he did last year. I know that.
I don't know that they were revving the motor all the way as high as it could go, but
I think it's better.
That where he
was
had
better on
his
slick.
Set at, he was still running up to it, and I think he was like in the 180 range.
Last year, I think he was limiting out at like 160 because the AO 52 that he had to run in limited, is a lot shorter than the Yokohama Slick or something. But dude, can you imagine running out of gear at 180? Like,
unbelievable.
It's dumb.
It's rough,
dumb, dude.
It's rough.
It's really stupid. Yeah, wild place. I would love to go back again, and I can't wait to go back to Rally Ready. Like, that was great, and the barbecue.
That was like
fine.
almost more fun than the race,
dude. Like, it was so good.
That was like the most underrated thing that nobody really talked about. That was so cool.
There was a lot of people there, actually.
But
yeah, it was like the perfect level of like low key, and they brought a band out. I didn't even know the band was coming. And like, it was just fun,
assume it's just
man.
a normal Saturday night there.
It's probably pretty similar.
That's just what they do.
It was really fun to see like Dalton freak out about Bucky Lasik. That was cool. I knew who Bucky Lasik was, but like, I didn't have, but like Dalton got paralyzed.
He was pumped.
It was. A lot of people were like, "Man, holy shit!" It was cool. It's a cool facility, man. That's the first time I was ever there. But yeah, just like that's like dream life facility. If you're in the rally world, like Dave found a dream spot there. Like all of his buddies have like crappy RVs and they like live there, and they just build rally cars together, and they host corporate events all day, and it pays the bills, and they like do rally schools. I guess they have like miles of trails too, like real rally stage trails. Even the little rally cross, like it was probably like half a mile, 3/4 mile rally cross. Like even that was like, dude, I would have dropped $20 bills on that thing all day long. That was a hit, dude. So good.
That Subaru had seen better days.
Yeah, it was a bit beat, but man, I got the shakes from that girl. It was super fun, man. I would have done that. I would have done it for an hour. If I could have slipped money into somebody's pocket and let me do it over and over and over, like it was that much fun. So that was really, really fun setting fastest time of the day. It's the first thing I've won in years. So
he told us we weren't allowed to tell anybody because he didn't want Luke McGrew to spend unnecessarily large amounts of money trying to beat him.
In the moment, I didn't want it. Yeah, I did that night. Like when there was still daylight, I was like, "Don't tell anybody," because Luke would just keep buying runs. And Luke has done like the Team O'Neill rally school and stuff. So he like the first run he rode with me, and in his beautiful Southern accent, like told me what to do. And then the second run, I was like, I think I know what to do. Let's do it, Larry. And I tried to show off for my dude Larry, and I beat Luke, and it was great. it was hilarious. But yeah, that was great. I mean, I hadn't had. It was like this. It was like this revelation when I got out of the car. I was like, oh yeah, that's why we all do this, because I had been like fighting my car that day, and I was kind of crabby for 2 days. I've been trying to get my car to not starve in left-hand turns, and like it was cool being at the event and stuff, but like my car sucked, and like it feels like all I do is go to these stupid events and work and work and work. But like now I remember why we do this, and we do that for the insane like clarity and the adrenaline rush that is like a good run. And like you just don't get that many of them, man. I don't get that many of them, at least. A lot of people probably get a lot more than I do, but I was really glad I did that second run, because it opened up my mind a little bit again, because there's been a lot of points where it's like I don't want to do this at all, like it's so freaking hard. Big to little, small, like small scale events to big events, like it's too much. And I'm still doing it as like job number 2. And it just like every single day at like 8:00, I want to I wish I could just punch my mental time card into like the machine and like shut the mind off, but it never stops. And that's the part that like sucks. But man, when you get the shakes are so good, dude. The shakes are really fun. So I'm going after the shakes more this year. That's my goal.
Yeah, I need that, because like I'm feeling the burnout right now too, because it's just been like we've gone to the dyno twice this year, and neither day has ended with a car with finishing a dyno run.
Yeah, what happened with your car went into limp mode on the Z did, right?
Yeah, so basically, I'm an idiot. So I mean that's nothing new.
Well, I mean, we're all idiots. Let's be honest.
Yeah, so because I hacked up my wiring harness, I learned the hard way that the CAN bus system talks from the ECU through the climate control module, through the ABS module, and like all that shit that's spidered in behind your dash.
Right.
So I had a total like brain fart where I forgot that I needed the climate control module as well. So I'm like, I got the ABS module. I got the ECU. It's running fine. I drove around the neighborhood, no issue. Get to the dyno, and again, I've been driving this for like a week, just like messing with things, getting everything set, just finishing up stuff so that Booney can wrap up the cage. And then, as I'm trying to drive it on the dyno, limp mode. So I'm messing with the scanner. It's like, I'm getting the error where it's saying the the CAN bus error is not happening. So I'm clearing codes, trying to track down what it is, and like totally forgetting that it's simply just the climate control module. And then we get it on the dyno and limp mode again, because I just drove around the parking lot, not in limp mode. But as soon as I went on to the dyno and changed, or the speed between the front wheels and the rear wheels were different, limp mode.
Right.
And once I figured that out and brought it home, I also, even had I gotten that right, my alternator was not working at all. Like zero volts. It is shot. Done.
Man.
So even if I had remembered that, I would not have survived a dyno pull without the battery draining itself to the point where it'd go throw itself in limp mode again. So
cars are great.
So I was 0 for 2 on that one, so I wasted everyone's time. And then 2 weeks prior, we had brought the Porsche to get tuned, and it had been driving fine, no issues. That
thing looks dope, by the way.
Thanks, man.
That thing looks really cool.
I'm super pumped about it.
It looks freaking rad.
That front end looks so cool.
It is so race car. I love it. I'm so glad that
I love how it looks. I don't know how I'm gonna love working on it at like events and stuff, because you have to pull the whole front end off to do anything.
Well, you got to make it super easy to pull off. That's what you got to do.
That's why we're sending it to Booney. He's actually got like a laundry list of things we need.
Is it going to be just a bunch of big hood pins that you just chunk, and the whole front end comes off?
Yeah, basically it's going to be 6 Aerocatches, and then we're just going to...
Oh, no, don't do Aerocatches.
Not
Aerocatches are the worst.
What do you recommend?
You need to get Pep Boys hood pins with the big old freaking like hitch trailer cotter pin thing, whatever you call it.
I think we already have all the Aerocatches, and that's why we're going with it. But that's what I was doing.
It's going to be so hard. And a pit stop, you're going to be like, the one Aerocatch isn't going in. You're like, oh, yeah, that one does that. You got to hit it from the left side, hit it from the top at the same time, and piss on it in order to lubricate it, and then it'll go in. Aerocatches suck.
You're not wrong.
I'm sorry, I hate Aerocatches.
Well, I went the cheaper, easier pin route on the 240, and I've never had issues. And then I went with the Aerocatches on the Z, and the passenger side kind of catches a little bit, and it's annoying.
So every car in tech inspection in California had an Aerocatch. They all had Aerocatches,
yeah,
right?
Of course they do.
Yeah, every single one. And you know what? Everybody's got a different... Oh, no, you got to just tap it. Just tap it. Oh, but wait, we're on an incline, so you got to hit it. And you got to okay, as you're pushing, bop the hood 6 inches to the right. Just hit it right there, and then it'll go. And it's does anybody like Aerocatches? Nobody likes these, dude. I get
they're
it.
So race car, man.
They're so race car, but race cars don't need to be this hard, man. I fucking hate Aerocatches. Aerocatches can suck my balls. I just taught Matt Williams' kids the word suck balls. So I'm sorry about that, Matt. But
it was bound to happen.
Yeah. I probably already told him. I probably talked about sucking balls in front of his kids. So, yeah.
Why did that get brought up?
I don't know. They've been to events. They heard things. Anyway, I hate Aerocatches, man. So explain yourself.
We already have them, and
yeah. So you put them on eBay and you sell them. And you buy 87 sets of Pep Boys hood pins.
I'll bring it up to the team. We'll take a vote.
I'm dead serious. If you want to win the pit stop game, you need to be able to pull them Johnnies out. Just pink lift. That's all you gotta do. Punk. They'll make little snappy noises. And put them on little cables so they just dangle and scratch things, and that'll look like a 70s IMSA car, and that's cool.
If we go this route, and I complain one time on the podcast about how slow our pit stop was because the Aerocatches, you're gonna call me and see. I told you.
Yes,
I fucking told you.
Yeah, do it. And the problem with Aerocatches too is you don't. The best part about the crappy little ones is you just make a half-inch hole, right? And then you put you put the hood down or the thing on, and then you center the thing, and then you drill 4 more holes, and you put pot rivets or self drillers, whatever you're putting in there for the cover plate, the bezel, right?
Yep.
The Aerocatches, you got to stencil and arts and crafts time, and you got to recess that jobber down in there.
It's never right. Ever.
Yeah, and then you can't go backwards.
Nope.
You're I can't put a regular hood pin there because I have this hateful this hateful race car piece of shit.
That was kind of why I didn't do it on the carbon, on the Sebin hood and the 240, because I couldn't bring myself to fuck that up.
No, man. What if you miss?
Yeah.
They only got like an eighth inch of lip around them too.
I know.
So like,
I had to fabricate like a bracket on the Z that basically creates like a washer,
right?
So that I could adjust it, because I fucked it up. It wasn't right, and I had to have like a washer, like bracket.
Aerocatch it. I tell you what, dude. I don't know why people. I know why people use them. But I don't know why people still use them. People buy them more than once. Nobody should buy that more than once. That product. I'll tell you what, man.
I really liked the $13 knockoff Sparko ones that I got, and they've worked really well. Not the Aerocatch, just the regular pins.
Yeah,
they've done well for years.
You got like a rusty piece of chrome with a point on it, and that hood comes down every time, and the pin goes in. And you're like, I can see the pin when you're strapped into your car. I'm like, I see the pin. Hood's definitely strapped down.
Yep.
Not worrying about it. Like there's mental gains there when you could see the little 1 inch round part of the pin that you pull your finger with. Like when you could see that strapped into the car, I think that's a plus. Aerocatches, man. I'll tell you. You making some bad life choices, man. Making worse life choices than Adam up in the right-hand side of my screen.
Oh, dude, why you gotta be like that?
We can't talk about your life choices.
I can't really argue with you, though.
No.
Adam will tell us about those life choices in a while.
Later. All right. So we got the Porsche together, and it's been running, and we've been thrashing on this car basically nonstop since November, and we're going to take it to the dyno, and everything's great. Right. And we made it through like half a pull, and the oil pressure was so fucking high, it's just spewing oil fucking everywhere, like out the rear main, like just out every orifice it can.
How?
Because the oil pressure was like, the oil pressure regulator has stuck. And
there's a regulator.
Or oil pressure, yeah. So like on the Porsches, there's like, it's literally just a piston and a spring.
Oh yeah. Okay, Honda's got a similar thing. Yeah. It's like it's got a blow off.
So 9 times out of 10 they fail because they get compressed and stay open, and then you lose oil pressure. Ours failed by staying closed, which meant we never relieved pressure under any circumstance. So it just kept building and building and building, and I think that's what blew out our rear main.
Because of course, yeah.
So because I was really beating myself up because like I've installed rear mains before. This is a new rear main on a completely redone engine. How could I have jacked this up? Because
that's crazy that it's that fails on that. I've never heard of a car that fails on.
Yeah.
Is that the big 4-cylinder? Like what liter?
No, it's just a 2.5 liter.
Okay, they made a 3 liter too, didn't they?
Yep.
Which is crazy. Things got to have coffee can pistons.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're reliable engines too. If you just got to use them though, like it's typical German stuff that if it sits, it gets done.
Yeah, and I think that's almost what the issue was, because like I took the regulator apart the other day just to like do a sanity check. I'm like, all right, well, what? Like, this is all new stuff. Is it like pressed in there? Is it frozen? And like I dislodged it with like a screwdriver and tried to pop it out, and then it moved freely, and then it worked.
It was just stuck.
So I think it was just stuck on a new fresh build. And so we're going to keep an eye on that, obviously. And then
it'll probably be fine if you start it once a year.
Yeah. And then not on top of that, it died and then wouldn't start again. So we brought it back. We've been diagnosing it for the last 2 weeks. And tonight, just before the show, I did a bunch of we narrowed it down to something to do with the fuel. Like we weren't getting the fuel pressure was no good, or whatever. So we're diagnosing that, and I come to find out that only one of the 4 brand new injectors are actually squirting fuel. So it ran fine, went to the dyno, and now 3 injectors are not spraying fuel.
Is that a fuel cell car?
Was that a fuel cell car? No.
Yeah. OEM tank?
Yeah. Okay,
so it couldn't have sucked up a bunch of like dead fuel cell foam or anything dumb like that?
No, and that was another thing we were worried about, because we used the hard lines from the car that was there, but like it's got like a new filter, new pump, a new like one of those like a pop can size 10 micron filters. I mean, everything's new and clean. So I don't know why it's happening. So like
what fuel are you running? 93 or
91.
Okay, you're not running like E85 or something weird.
No.
Yeah, that's weird. Those are bad injectors then.
Yeah, so we've because I checked, the ohms were good. We were getting voltage, like just doing all these sanity checks, and like I'm have it hooked up to the computer, and I'm like running everything manually, fuel on, injectors on. It's like cylinder 3 is the only one spraying.
What computer are you using on it?
I was just using my laptop to control the Mega Squirt.
Oh, it's a Mega Squirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never messed with Mega Squirt personally. I've helped build one, but never tuned it. But sounds like a cool car though. Once you figure it out.
Yeah, it was just really frustrating the last couple of weeks as everything's kind of falling into place, and we're getting everything sorted. So it's just kind of like it's. Right.
It looks good.
I need that like shaky day, and remind myself why I enjoy this, because it's been a long time since I've had one.
They're hard to come by, man.
I get
Adam. Did Adam ever get that Mallory distributor back together? I think get that.
So I actually did work on the car a little bit this weekend. What I had originally really hoped to do, but it didn't quite work out the way I wanted to because there was more work on that car than I had originally remembered. Was that so? This weekend was Robbie's or DMVR SCCA's big dyno day, right? And that's just 10 or 12 miles away from my house, the place where they do that. And so what I was hoping was that on Saturday I could thrash on the car and get it running and then roll into that place and not tell anybody. Because
awesome.
Like all of the people who know that car and who I'm friends with around here are probably going to be at this thing, right? And like people are going to lose their damn minds. That was my hopes and dreams. I did not succeed in that. So I started just trying to throw parts in it, and then I was like, this wiring harness is pissing me off. I can't take it anymore.
Isn't it like 4 wires?
Yeah, it's like literally 6 wires. But I couldn't take it anymore because they're like so he's got it all loomed together, and they'll like go in the loom one color and come out a different color, and like
so I built that harness.
there's like the wrong size ring terminals on one end, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I here a few months ago I got a hold of a buddy of mine that still works in like the copper side of telecommunications stuff, and I got some basically like home audio speaker wire essentially. So it's like a 16 gauge 4 conductor wire. Obviously they're each individually insulated, and then it's all put in one jacket. And he gave me like 30 or 40 feet of this stuff, and I'm just going to rewire the car. And so I started doing that on Saturday, but I didn't have enough time to finish it. So I'm hoping maybe I'll get a chance to work on it a little bit this weekend. I don't even bother with it on weeknights. I got so much other stuff going on. So
the fuel in there, how old is the gas?
Old.
Have you like cranked it over at all or no?
No.
Have you put stable in it?
No.
I want to drain them carbs first too.
Yeah.
Throw some fresh stuff in there.
Yeah, I know. So
yeah, I found out the hard way that DCOEs like to get stupid. But,
yeah, that's on the list of things to do.
Or just like cycle the key and like pump a bunch of fuel through them a little bit at least. Get things moving.
Yeah, it definitely needs cleaned out. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, what the best way to do it is yet. I haven't decided. I really don't want to take them off and tear them down and all that shit. So I'm going to try and figure out something.
My dad swears by seafoam on those things if anything is stupid. They might be fine. I mean, it's only been a couple of years, right?
Yeah, and I always tried to run premium in it, and I don't know where it was last filled, but the premium pump in the town I live in is a no ethanol premium pump. So hopefully that's the one I put in last. I can't say for sure though, so who knows? We'll find out. It'll be fun.
Car.
But
I remember when you started the podcast, and I was like, man, dude plays with an Omni. That is cool.
Yeah, it's a very strange little thing. So, but I mean, hopefully it'll be running soon. Yeah, I have all the parts. I think that's the big thing is that I'll dive into it and realize, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, I still need this. Shit.
It's the same thing with every build, man.
Right. So, and then what I'm really afraid of is once it does start running, or once I get all the stuff that I know is bad on it, how much stuff has gone south on it since it sat.
Can't be that bad.
I hope not.
It's a simple card. It's got 6 wires.
Yeah, it should be pretty simple, but it won't be.
Yeah.
So,
race cars.
Yeah. But
race cars are hard, man. I don't know why we're doing this. Like,
it's a stupid hobby, man. I've been saying it for
really
months.
Dumb hobby, man. It's just so dumb. But we can't tell anybody.
No, we got to keep doing it.
Yeah, we can't tell anybody that. The SCCA thing that we were talking about, the enduro thing. They haven't done an enduro in a long time, like nationally, and they've been talking about it for about a year. But I'm kind of excited about I did some enduro stuff with Lemons years ago, and then I ran an SCCA 13-hour that like some region did at VIR. They did that for a bunch of years. I think I ran the second to last one, and I haven't ran an enduro like myself, a serious effort in a long time. I helped with the one that we did at Daytona with Grid Life Winners in 2018, early 2019. I drove one stint in that, and obviously did a lot of the logistics and moving the car around and all that stuff. But it's got me thinking a lot about enduro stuff. And I think maybe I need to do some more of that. That's a lot of seat time and usually really, really good team vibes. I loved doing it. I'm kind of excited to maybe put an effort together to do this first enduro championship. But,
take a step back and because we were talking about this quite a bit before the show started and it's not recorded. So SCCA announced this week that they're doing a enduro nationals in 2022.
Yeah,
and
at Sebring.
At Sebring, and then in the Racer.com article and on the SCCA website, it lists Adam Jabaay, Motorsports Director, as a influential character in such a thing.
Yeah, they asked me to be on the board, and I at the time, this was a year ago at COTA when Hayward asked me about it, because he was like the SCCA liaison at the COTA SLP event last year, and he was like talking to me about like. I want you to help on the rules and the board and the oversight and like the mission statement and like the why do we want to do this kind of stuff. And I was like, why do you want me to help with this stuff? But I was kind of like, I was taken aback enough that I thought, yeah, hell yeah, I want to help with that. If you think I can help with that, hell yeah, I'll help with that. So we've been having regular meetings for a while, and I'm kind of excited about the direction of it. I think it's going to be a pretty good, like, it's going to be a little bit, it's going to be different than typical SCCA club racing, sprint racing kind of classing.
Good.
It's going to be different than like time trial classing. It's going to kind of be its own thing. And I think the goal, because if you look at all the sanctioning bodies, whatever you want to call, Lemons and Champ and WRL, AER, Lucky Dog, they all like do a good job at what they do, and they all do it kind of differently. Like you got Lemons that basically like judges the cars, and like somebody tells you where you go, and then you've got power to weight in a few of them, and you've got build costs factored into some of them, and points in some of the, like in Champ, and like per modification and all that kind of stuff. Like they all kind of find their way to a different thing, but they all have races all the time. But nobody like knows who wins in any of the races, and nobody like follows real closely unless you're like one of the 10 front runner teams. You don't know who's like winning and who's gunning for what and points and all that stuff. So like there's no celebration at the end of like the season. Like there's a little bit, but like, there's something about the gravity of like 70 years of SCCA club racing that like winning the championship at the runoffs or like a solo Nats championship, like that's still a pretty freaking big deal. And I would love to see some of that. Like when Hayward was like, yeah, we kind of want to like try to be a pinnacle event for these other things, maybe, or for these people. And like, I kind of thought that was cool because I've always aspired to, you know, maybe someday if I got the effort and the talent, maybe I could try to get on the podium at an SCCA something, right? Like it's hard. It's a big deal. Yeah, it shows that you put the effort in as a driver because you're usually up against like the best amateur drivers, right? Like in any of that stuff. And that's kind of where we want GLTC to go in the real life world. Like we want it to be the, and I think it's really in sprint racing world. I think it's proven itself to be like the axe murderer capital of the sprint racing world lately. Like it's a few murderers, and like car prep murderers too. Like they put more work in than anybody. And enduro, like car prep is huge, and clean driving is huge. And like I think it would be a big deal to win an SCCA championship. So that's like I support their vision where they want to go with it. And I think it's pretty cool, and I'm happy to be like a part of the kind of the thought leadership of it. And I'm excited where the rules are going. We can't really talk about that stuff, but we're kind of gunning for a smaller amount of classes that not like catch-all stuff, but like, you know, separated by a few of the big aspects that make speed in cars, you know, like grip and aero and stuff like that. It'll be a few months before we have like rules ready to release, but basically we're trying to break it out into like a few categories of like common car that would be applicable with minimal mods. But trying to find the sweet spot of you play a lot of like if this then that kind of games when you're making rules like that, which is it's a big process. It's a lot of thinking. But
so you basically want cars that are running in, you know, WRL, Champ Car, Lemons to be able to jump in,
give them a home if they want,
without any major mods.
Yeah, or you know, there's still a lot of SCCA guys that have. You know, they've put in big fuel cells and they love racing enduros too, because there's still some regional enduro stuff, and there's still a bunch of SCCA drivers that have crossed over into Champ, into WRL, AER, and like they just don't have a home for when they want to do it as a team. I think the team aspect is the biggest thing because right now, if you win an SCCA championship, like you did it by yourself, like driver wise. I think the fun with cars thing that they've been preaching for a few years, I think that's a great mantra long term for a club like that. And I like some of the best times I ever had with my buddies was when we like ran Lemons races. Like those are like wild couple days, and you're on pins and needles the whole time, but you come out of it feeling like you did it together. Like today I was texting with one of our buddies who. Actually, today I was texting with three of the buddies that I won a Lemons race with. And these are three dudes that, like, I don't see them very often. Like, but we're still good friends because we went through that together. Like, it's a crazy experience to, like, drive through the night or drive 2 long days and thrash on the car. And, like, it's a really cool team building experience. Like, you feel like you came out of something, and it's a bonding experience for the drivers and for the team. And I don't know. I think it's really cool to have the aspirational goal of winning a championship with your friends as a thing for the drivers. Like if we do it right, and it's a good, like it's obviously going to SCCA puts on good events. Sebring's a wild, cool place for enduros. So we got like two good boxes checked, right? It's one of the first places for like a real enduro in the U.S. ever. And I think if we get the classing structure right, I think it's going to be like, you know, the potential for like really good weekend for a lot of these teams could be really, really high. I think it's going to be potentially a really cool event. And I like the way that the group, the board has been thinking. It's not like the board is definitely not like, oh, well, we got to have a place for my Camaro. You know, like nobody's thinking about their own piece of this potential puzzle. like everybody really has the goal. Everybody on the board so far that I've noticed really has the goal of like, let's set this up to be a thing that can be sustainable and also be a rule set that can branch out and have regions host events and be a national series if we want it to, but also otherwise be a place that, some of the best of anywhere can come play. So I think it's got a lot of cool potential. That was a long-winded way for me to say that I think it's going to be rad. So
no, it sounds great based on the little bit that they've been able to release. Let's say somebody is getting into enduro racing in the next year or so.
Do they have a Porsche 944?
How do they go about getting to this Enduro Nationals 2022 at Sebring? Do I need to know a guy?
Yeah, I know some guys like that. The thought right now is that it's going to be, in the 70 to 80 car driver field or car field. And it will be application for the first year. It'll be like, basically, here's our car. Here's what we've all done as drivers. Here's why you should take us. So that's probably going to be the process to get into the first one. Until there's a different process, maybe it's going to be, long term, maybe it's a qualification process where you got to run one or two of the other ones. And, if that's a thing, maybe you come into being invited to because you can't just have a 600 car race,
No.
if they had too many cars, it'd be a problem. But, so it'll be kind of a curated invite event upon application. The first year is the plan. So get that car running. Don't be fighting injectors in Sebring in the rain at night.
Yeah, that sounds awful. But hopefully we're on the right track and getting that back to our June event.
Yeah, I'm excited about the event though. Like I'm planning on going down, and if I'm not driving, like obviously helping with stewarding or with whatever I'm invited to help with, scrutineering, whatever. But I think it's like I really want to, like, personally, I'm pretty invested in SCCA because that's kind of where I came into my like competition teeth. And they also, I was on some rules committee boards for a few years, and they like sort of helped me learn a lot about the process of making rules, what I want to do, what I didn't want to do. And so like Grid Life has a lot to thank SCCA for, just from my own personal experiences. And I've met like a lot of good friends there, and I had a lot of fun driving there, obviously. And if I had the free time, I would still race SCCA STL. I just don't have the time right now. But or maybe, I don't know, H Production was also kind of calling my name, running like a cut-off windshield something or other, like an old Miata with no windshield. But that seems
I always love that stuff. That looks so cool when you got these cars that there have no windshields. I don't know why, but it's just like, that's the coolest.
So the one that really got me was when there was a VW Cabriolet at Daytona a few years ago, and it like H Production had a CRX, a Cabriolet, and a Miata, I think, and the Cabriolet crossed the start-finish line. Like they all almost tied, and the Cabriolet was backwards as it went across the start-finish line at Daytona. The Cabriolet didn't have a windshield, so it was just like a square brick with a dude's head poking out. Like the class is rowdy. It's kind of fun. Anyway, but yeah, SCCA has like been it's a club too. Like it's not a business. And full disclosure, like Grid Life is a business. Like we don't make any money, but like we're trying to like we're just a business still. We have a few employees. We have a lot of stuff to do. I obviously have a full-time other job as well, but it's a business. SCCA has some people to pay, but it's a not-for-profit club basically. So like it is really, they are trying to build events for the members, which is, I think that's still, I think long term, it's a really good way to do national racing. And I really want to see SCCA succeed because I think it's good for the automotive world for them to exist. And I hope that this is rad too.
Yeah, I think SCCA has done a lot. I don't know if it's just because I'm paying closer attention, but and that's always, SCCA is kind of where I'm planning on doing a lot of my stuff, like with the time trials and stuff, has always been SCCA. But like what they've been doing in the last handful of years with the push to make it more accessible and give people more places to be.
Right.
It just seems like there's been a pretty decent culture shift, and are bringing a lot more new people and bringing people back that maybe had walked away. So
I think like there's been a lot of years where people forgot why, like I personally forgot why I did this. Like everybody can forget that too. Like you gotta keep remembering why we all gather at racetracks to do stuff with cars, and like culture has always been a big part of Grid Life community. Like the main reason we started Grid Life was to get all of our friends in one place for a party. Like our drift buddies, like the people that Chris did concert stuff with, our regular HPD crew that we had been building in Gingerman since 2004, for 10 years at the time of starting Grid Life. Like community and culture is like that. Like you can have a good competition, but like if it's not a place that you want to be, and if you don't remember, like in between events, you got to remember why you do this. And it's not just so that you can go kick somebody's ass driving. Like that's a stupid reason to drive and to like go through all the hoops of this hobby. Like the hobby is just too hard to do it just to win. It's like way too hard, like just way, way, way too hard to only do it for like the sake of winning. So yeah, I do love the culture shift that, or maybe not the shift, but like the message. Because like I know a lot of people at SCCA, like you look at all the stewards, like I know a lot of them did it for the right reason for the last whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You got a million people that like they retired from driving or they never even drove and they just like show up with a beater van and they're out there flagging and they like, they have a Coors and a hot dog like at the end of the day. I'm like, that's what they do. Like this is like a big part of a lot of people's lives. Like the club racing at all levels and with all organizations. And in order like to like, it's a good way to spend your life is to do this stuff. Like it really is. I think it's an honest human pursuit. I think it's a good thing to do. It's good for people to compete in this way if we do it safely and right. And I want to see it be a thing. Like, even when we're all buzzing around in stupid Teslas, like, and pods and whatever, like maybe it's like the horse farm where we all just show up at the horse farm called Gingerman and pull our horses out of the barn and like make sure that we put the stable in there so that the horses still fire up, like I think it's a hobby that will be around the rest of my life. And I just want it to be around for some more than that, So I think SCCA is doing good things. And I do like the direction of the enduro thing. Like obviously we'll probably hit some snags and stuff, but we're, I think as a team building that series, like I'm proud to be a part of it with the people that are on there. And I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. And you might not be able to answer this, but I think it was last year, or it might have been the year before. Everything's a blur. IMSA and SCCA came out and kind of said that they were planning on doing some sort of like I don't know if it was like a formal path, but like basically making it so that there was a path for amateurs to make it to IMSA. Is this kind of a stepping stone to that, or like is that part of it?
It was talked about a little bit. Basically, they just kind of they weren't actually trying to give a path to IMSA.
Right.
They were mainly like saying, "Hey, we're friends. You guys see IMSA, and you IMSA guys see us. Like we're friends. Let's try to do some stuff." The path to IMSA, I mean, we're going to be blunt about pro racing.
Yeah.
Like the path to IMSA is credit card.
Yeah.
Like you got to have like a high limit. You want to go pro? Like I could probably get a pro ride at the 24-hour Daytona if I mortgaged my house. Like, and he locked that my way there. I could probably do it. Like you can probably do it too. But I think the path to like, if you want to like the path to pure race car driver pro life, like to me, like Tom O'Gorman and a few others, like those are the pure pro drivers that came out of like, you follow that path, it's completely It's completely based on, and not to disparage any pros or anything. Like if you're out there and you got there with a check and you earned your way there and you worked hard and you're driving well, like rad. Like, but it's really hard to do it like the grassroots way because there's so many really good drivers already there that got there one way or the other. I do feel bad now that I disparaged pro driving, but honestly, like it's hard to get there regardless. Like if you have to make the money and also have, because you got to have driving talent. Like not saying any of them don't have driving talent, because obviously they do. But like you also have to make that money or figure out how to make the partnership sponsor dollar appear, which is basically making the money. It's just it's a different world. But I think like the SCCA and all the orgs that like build up to it or are similar to it, like the path is building better drivers. You build a bunch of rad drivers and you build good programs for them. And with the enduro thing, another thing we're talking about is mentorship and like coaching during the event for lower experienced teams. And we're talking about like a lot of things that hopefully will build better drivers. But yeah, like it all leads. I think all the paths lead to pro racing. If you want to, like the rabbit hole goes as far as you want. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it's very expensive.
You mean all the times? All the times it's always expensive.
I try to do my personal program pretty cheap, and it's still really expensive. Yeah. It's like, and I probably have the lowest budget like car in GLTC of anybody that my car didn't go well at COTA, but like it typically like finishes races and stuff, and it looks nice, but it's like the lowest budget one, and I'm still like embarrassed about how much money I put into it.
Yeah, so I have every intention of being right there with you with the budget part.
Man, we're gonna high five out the window.
That's
one
fine.
of us is right hand drive. We could actually get that high five done.
Maybe that'll be part of my budget for next year.
I thought about converting my car to right hand drive, and then I thought, okay, that's too much. I gotta stop.
If you're gonna do it, you need to center drive it.
Yeah, we got these little trans tunnel, exhaust tunnel like things in these cars. They're hard to center drive like the newer ones. The newer ones have flat floors, like the 8th gens. They're basically flat floors. You can do them a lot easier. But, yeah, thought about it.
8th gens have been growing on me.
They're like, when they
I don't know what it is, but it's like, man, they look cool.
They do
race
look
car
cool.
trim.
I didn't like them when they came out. They look high. You know, they got big wheel gaps, and they just look like pedestrian cars. But if you slam them, you make the wheels stick out about 2 more inches, and you put a good lip on
wing on
thing.
the back of it.
Yeah, a lip and a wing and a side skirt. Like that's a good looking car, actually.
Yeah,
like it's real clean race car lines once you make it a race car.
Yeah, and there's a few of them out there that are proving they're not slow with the right work done to it.
DJ Allison Drini won a GLTC race with a stock K20 under the hood. Like,
there's a lot of time attack overall records set with one too.
Right. They don't suck. So the chassis, I mean, it's still a strut car, but like the chassis can obviously be made to work. So anyway, well, my voice is about shot. Did we do a podcast yet?
We're about half done. This isn't a slip angle. We
you guys are on the 4-hour.
We marathon these.
No. No, we're not doing. That's not a thing. I know we didn't do a show last week. No,
we can't make up for it.
Yawning since before we started. I feel bad.
I was yawning too, man.
Well, Adam just woke up. I thought maybe he had been up for 48 hours, like regular Nielsen life. But
no, so
that's the
we
rest
didn't
of the
really
week.
talk about this much, but so yesterday morning started for me with a root canal.
Oh, fun!
Yeah, and then I went to work and didn't. So I got a root canal at 8:00. Also, side note for all you young listeners out there who are looking for a good job, specializes in root canals, because that dude was in and out in 30 minutes, and that cost me $1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last time you were in and out in 30 minutes and cost $1,000, that chick was hot. So that was a terrible prostitution trip. At least we're far, far into the show. Nobody's going to hear it.
No, it's fine. Yeah. Except that everyone's going to hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I went to work and worked all night. Work. So
yeah, that seems cheap for dental work. I got a cleaning,
I mean,
and it was
well, so I don't have dental insurance.
Nobody has dental insurance.
Let's not. I should say I don't pay for dental insurance. And I still think I'm probably money ahead by not having done it, even with the root canal costing me $1,000. But it's like, I don't know if maybe they give you a different deal.
Yeah, they usually give you a cash discount. Chiropractors do the same thing.
Yeah. But
yeah, I need to go in and do that.
Still a set and a half of Hoosiers on a small car. my teeth have never really been good because my parents were, and my dad has been self-employed his whole life. So like 1 year he'd do great, and the next year he'd have $12. And so we never had dental insurance. So I never got the braces I should have. So my teeth are kind of screwed up. But no, nobody really talks about it, so it can't be that bad. I've never noticed. They're not that bad, but yeah, I probably should go to the dentist more. So I just don't want to pay for it because I don't have dental insurance. But
yeah, I didn't have a choice.
My wife took her daughter to the dentist twice already because she has to be pretty in order to get by in life. My wife says. So at least Adam and I don't have to be pretty.
It makes it a little easier. I wouldn't know, but apparently it does.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's sexist, though. You guys are.
Yeah, hey, man, men can be pretty. Look at Robbie over here. You can call him Handsome Rob the first 12 episodes.
That's true.
Yeah, we stopped that, though.
Yeah, because
you're just married, Rob. You're less interesting now that you're married.
That's true.
The international man of mystery he disappeared when you got that ring on your finger, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I appreciate you guys having me on to let me ramble. I apologize to the listeners that are sick of me.
No, it made it easy for me because I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about, and then I basically didn't have to talk at all the whole podcast.
It's just the content just vomits out of my mouth, right all over this microphone every single time. Just give me.
That's what happens when you got a lot of stuff going on in life, man, though.
Fire me up, baby.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm sort of regretting a lot of life choices. Just too much stuff happening, but kind of. She's rolling, man.
Yeah, it's like everything you do though keeps growing and getting better. So I mean, it's not all for nothing, man. It's you're putting on these.
Choice now, man. This ship is
ain't no stopping this train, man.
Something. We got to crash into something to stop this thing now.
Yeah, it's good though. It's awesome to see the projection of grid life and everything else you're involved in.
We're going to talk about wanting to go west, and we do want to go west. So if you guys have any listeners who are in the event production world and want to help us go west, shoot me an email, adam@grid.life. We need some staff that don't need to fly out. Volunteers and staff are always welcome. So we would love the help if anybody has any desire on the far west coast. We're looking to do hopefully a few rounds out there. Talking with tracks right now about dates and stuff. Just had a really good call with Sonoma today.
You talking this year?
No, in 2022 next year. So,
okay.
But yeah, I had a good call with Sonoma, and we're talking a lot of tracks out there. We're hoping to throw a few parties out there next year. So
that'll be a lot of fun.
It's got me a little bit intimidated. It's far away. Yeah, that's a 3-track party, man, at Willow. Ooh, boy.
I would my car. Yeah, I would drive out for that. I'd have to.
Take my car and do 125 down in turn 8, just white knuckling. Dude, turn 8 is such a party. You got to drive Willow once in your life. It's so crazy. Especially in a GLTC car. I mean, I can't imagine how fast Catill's going to get around turn 8. It's going to be about 140.
Yeah, foot to the floor, man.
Yeah. Well, I was foot to the floor with Maxxis in my car. Like old RC1 slicks, which, I mean, they're the same when they're old and new, but like, man, you put a fresh set of Hoosiers on that, it's going to be a rowdy track. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that place. I'm hoping we can go west with at least a couple of events. But we'll see where it goes. We'll hopefully the world stays together and we can all keep doing race car things for a few years.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. And I just realized that we've gone an entire show and I didn't once pimp our awesome sponsors over at Petrobox. So everyone needs to go over to mypetrobox.com.
And you can pre-record these things and put them in
there. No, I don't do that. We do it in the moment. Even at the end. Have you guys ever heard of ApexPro? Yes.
The best.
They are the best. If you use the code TenTenths, you get a free window mount.
I think there's another code there that you can use also.
Don't use that code. That code doesn't work.
Slip angle or something?
You know, Adam,
yeah.
I appreciate that you pimp our show when you go on other things. I will allow you to pimp your own show on our show.
When I told you guys personally this, but I don't know if I think I might have said it on Slip Angle.
I think you did. Yeah, you did.
Larry Chen filmed a video on my car, and he was like, "Why the Lambo doors?" And I was like, "So my friends have this podcast." And they talked about Lambo doors, and then I didn't even plug my own podcast because I'm an idiot.
How mad was Abe that you didn't plug your own podcast?
I think Abe said, "Oh, fuck you." Well, it's almost as bad as when Austin was on the Smoking Tire and didn't even mention Slip Angle.
That's probably worse. Honestly.
That would be worse.
He's literally talking to podcast listeners in our demographic, and I was like, "Bro,
you couldn't do just one,
bro." That was. What are you gonna do? Yeah, that'll happen. But,
live in them.
Matt Farah has mentioned, I think, both of our shows on his show, but the time that Austin was on, he was on for like 2 hours. At least I had the excuse of like standing in the sun in Austin, Texas, while like 80s music was played too loudly over the loudspeaker at Coda. But, I'm a big Larry Chen fanboy. I love his work, obviously, and I'm not like best friends with Larry, but Larry's been to a lot of our events, so like I wasn't like fanboying out, but I also was not thinking about Slip Angle. But clearly, I was thinking about TenTenths podcast.
Well, I appreciate that.
You guys did inspire me to.
Everybody should.
I would not have done Lambo doors if it was not for the great Adam Nielsen. Yeah,
I couldn't be prouder of the things I've created,
dude. The Lambo doors, I swear, they have like made this car, it's better than like taking a sign out saying, "Hey, look at my car," and like having it on a 50-foot pole right above your car. You just pop the Lambo doors, and everybody is secretly racer from 2000. Like,
yes,
everyone,
dude. And like, imagine being that guy in that time.
I was that guy, but you were actually the guy with the racer doors.
Dude, I remember people like hearing, we would go to like these small Iowa towns, and I'd stop at a gas station, filling up the car, and just leave the door up because that's what you do.
Of course.
And I remember like hearing people debating about what it was, because it didn't have any badges on it, and and just like arguing back and forth, like people who have no business at trying to figure out what it is. Like, is that a Lambo? Is that a Ferrari? Like, what is that?
Yeah,
it's a Cavalier.
It's a Cavalier. They are. Like, I'm dead serious. They are freaking functional when you're putting it in or on a trailer too.
That was my first thought when I put the Z in the enclosed trailer to bring it up, because it doesn't have a windshield right now. So I used my buddy's trailer to bring it up to.
So you just climb through the windshield?
Yeah, that was easier than opening the door. But like,
what if you had Lambo doors?
As I was opening the door, I was like, God damn it! I wish I had Lambo doors right now.
It's the best.
Yeah, you do.
I have a saved search on eBay, so if anyone's selling 350Z used hinges, I'm buying them. I'm just not spending $500 or more on them.
I think the ones that I have, like, they used to list for like $890.
Yep.
And I bought them from the company that made them out of Las Vegas or whatever, and they were on like a demo car, and they were like $200.
I would pay $200. I won't pay $500 or $1,000.
I mean, they are heavy. Like I probably added 15 or 20 pounds to the car, but it was so worth it.
But my car's so heavy to begin with. It doesn't like what difference does it make anymore?
Yeah, like I mean, especially when you're in power to weight class, you just figure it out.
Yeah, man. I'm running a stock ECU. It's fine.
The first time you pull it into or onto a trailer, and you can just get out the same way you could in your driveway. It's so good. Like it's just perfect. And everybody's a closet racer. Like everybody is. Like all the hardcore race guys. Like for years on Facebook, they're like, "Oh, Lambo door is so stupid." Like whenever it comes up, and then you pull into grid with like a real race car. And like you hit your neons and your Lambos, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so sick!" Because they actually love it. They just don't love it on cars that like don't do anything. You know?
I won't disagree with that.
It's it's my favorite mod I've ever done, and I'll never take them off. They're so freaking great. So,
that makes me so happy.
Thanks to Adam Nielsen. That's the reason, man.
I'm totally okay with that.
You're the light of my life, man. I'll tell you what.
And then it's going to be on Larry Chen's YouTube channel, and you're going to talk about TenTenths podcast to his millions of views, and I'm so happy.
I mean, he's only got like 400,000 subscribers. It'll probably get 12 views, or it'll be a million hit video because it'll have Lambo doors in the opening, like in the thumbnail. Like I have no idea. It'll be fully hated on or fully loved. I can't tell. But
if the thumbnail has the doors popped, it's gonna go huge.
I think it'll do fine. Probably.
It'll be one of the more popular ones.
It's also gonna get shared a million times because anything that you are in, your friends and fans will share. Like completely. There's no shame in it. They'll share it everywhere.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird life I live. I don't feel like I have fans because I feel like I know all of them and they come to our events. I feel like I know everybody that listens to Slip Angle for some reason. So
we're the same way with ours.
No, I part of the reason that we still do Slip Angle is like because of like I enjoy coming on your show, and I wouldn't have any relevance if I didn't keep doing Grid Life and Slip Angle. So like it's just a big community, like we were talking about earlier. Like I only keep doing it because I feel like it might be a thing that people want to listen to, and it might get people to the racetrack. So I would love to just not have anything to do. Like dude, it sounds so amazing. I have to get off of this right now and do a bunch of email before I go to bed. I don't want to do that at all. So maybe if we just keep talking, I'll just get too tired and I won't do email.
Well, it is getting pretty late, and you've done the equivalent of 4 Slip Angle shows.
Hey man, we usually do 40 minutes a Monday. We can't do. We used to do big long ones. I think our longest ever was like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, that's too long.
Yeah, we did a lot of 2-hour shows back in the day. We've done a ton of 2-hour shows, but I just can't do those all the time right now. I got a 7-year-old who never seems to sleep. So anyway, my voice is actually getting painfully shot. I need to get a drink of water. So.
All right. Well, I guess we'll let you go. We'll tell all our listeners to go to mypetrolbox.com and use the code 1010 or TTP15. Sorry, TTP15. You get 15% off your first box or anything in the store. Adam, I want to thank you again for coming on the show and taking a lot of time because I know you don't have a lot of spare time, but
you're welcome. I'm glad you had me on today.
I was waiting for it. Check out Grid.life and Grid Life Official at Instagram and whatever. And we really appreciate the support of all of our drivers and everything, and all of our merch buyers and everybody keeping that company afloat. And I would love to thank especially the TenTenths podcast / Slip Angle listeners and the Patreon listeners, especially for all the silliness that you have enabled in our lives with the Patreon. That's kind of crazy. And also I should thank FCP Euro for also being a Slip Angle partner. And even though you guys don't have them, you should, because they have the best parts. So.
How many Nissan parts do they have?
They don't have any Nissan parts, but they sell oil for Nissan.
Oh, well, that would work.
Yeah, they actually give you a lifetime guarantee on their oil.
Their guarantee is incredible. I will.
It is ridiculous. I every time somebody talks about how they have a lifetime guarantee on oil, you guys can stop doing that. Don't do that. Nobody expects that. That's above and beyond, man.
Yeah, it's otherworldly when it comes to.
They were out on Thursday out at Skip Day also, and just good good dudes, motorsports enthusiasts, a lot of good people over there. So cool to see that company growing, and happy to be. And obviously they're huge. They're like our biggest, longest partner in grid life too. So we really appreciate them. So
excellent.
Anyway. Love you guys. Thank you for having me on.
Love you too, Adam. And we'll let you get to emails, and then you can go to bed in a few hours, and then we will
probably
catch.
Probably got 40 messages from Dalton in that one chat.
It's the best.
Going to pick up like 4 lifts for $12.
It's the best chat.
It's my 4th favorite chat.
Oh, fine.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Yep. We'll catch our bells next week.